Let's talk Jackson Arnold's return to Norman. Auburn takes on Oklahoma with the new shiny toy in town, John Mateer. All the Heisman talk, all the hype early in the season, first conference test. Let's break this one down from the top. JP, do it for us.
I think where you need to start on this one is understanding who Auburn was against Baylor on offense. And then you need to understand what Oklahoma did to Michigan when Michigan went in to Norman earlier in the year. Is Auburn really going to go in there and move the football that much better than what Michigan was doing? Maybe, but I don't know if your confidence level would be high on that. I feel pretty good that Auburn's going to play a little bit better defense than Michigan did. That Michigan has a solid defense. I'm not going to say they don't, but you kind of look at it in perspective. I think there's a better front for Auburn. Like they have a better defensive line than Michigan does. I think they're a little bit better in the secondary, but not much. Similar in that aspect. All that to say, I felt like Mateer in that game against Michigan kind of had to make a couple big plays, and that really flipped the way that game was handled. It wasn't like they were walking up and down the field the entire night. They needed a couple things to go their way. He threw a couple really good footballs, and he got out of the pocket and ran well. But there's a shot Auburn can slow that down a little bit more. On the flip side, is Jackson Arnold going to all of a sudden hit guys that are open? Because I don't feel like Oklahoma's defensive line and linebacking core is going to let him get out of the pocket. They know what they're getting out of him. So they're going to keep him in the pocket and try to make him beat him with his arm. Good news is he's got three-headed monster at receiver, and he has the weapons to do so. Can he do it, though, is a different question. So that's the whole thing for me. If they can keep him in the pocket and he can't use his legs to escape and continue to make plays, and he's doing it all with his arm, are we looking at a 20 for 35 type performance, or are we looking maybe he's sitting 15 for 35? Who knows? The opportunity for him is huge here because I do feel like he has a chance to prove himself against a really good Oklahoma defense. This is an all-time two really good defensive lines with a shot to get after two offensive lines that I'm a little more unsure about. We could end up with two quarterbacks who move really well, still getting sacked 3-4 times each. Who can control the football and continue to get first downs and sustain drives is the entire thing for me here. 6.5 feels like a lot, but I understand where it is because I could see Oklahoma being a 3-point favorite on a neutral because I assume they're giving them 3 for being home field, 3.5 almost. This one is like right where you expect the line. Do you guys think that there's any real distinct difference between these two teams? Two really good receiving cores, two quarterbacks that move really well, still trying to prove a little bit with their arms, two really good defensive fronts. Where's the big difference between these two teams? Is there one that really sticks out to you?
I would say the Auburn run game. Personally,
Well,
I think they're more comfortable running the football than what. I mean, Oklahoma's kind of finding some backs, but no Jade, not really. And Javante Barnes has been pretty limited. The Torrey kid has been getting a lot of run for them. So I would say that would be. It's not like head and shoulders above Oklahoma, but
I was curious because I was trying to look through it and find that. So Jake or Parks, if you had something too, go ahead.
Yeah, on this game, I think it's such an interesting storyline for the preparation of this game because you look back in Auburn's game with Baylor. What was their success? It was Arnold running the football. And even that Michigan game, as low scoring as it was with Oklahoma, where was the difference maker? It was Mateer running the football. So really, both of these teams in practice all week, all their one defenses have seen a running quarterback. Like they're going to be more prepared than the opponents that they played because those two didn't really have the ability that these two have. I think in this situation, home field advantage is huge as well. I think, Arnold returning the way he kind of went out and was really in the back seat behind Hawkins at the end of the season to then go and be successful at Auburn. I don't think Oklahoma fans, and we've had our discrepancies with them in the past, and JP's called them out for booing quarterbacks and being kind of that fan base that really struggles to understand things. You got one that can come in here and really prove you wrong. And I don't know if Brett Venables' ability to schematically set up a defense like he did for years at Clemson and just hasn't been able to do for a full season at Oklahoma is going to allow that to happen. So I like this game to go to Oklahoma because they're at home. And I'm a Brett Venables guy. I've never steered away from him. I want him to be successful. I think he will be. And I think his defense gives Oklahoma the edge here and really shuts down Jackson Arnold. Gets to him a few times, pops him. That's the way I see this game going. Jake, go ahead.
I mean, I think we really haven't mentioned it. You feel like Oklahoma and Brett Venables, has to have at least some sort of an advantage at home with
Oh, yeah.
Jackson, like knowing Jackson Arnold's tendencies. Like you had the guy in your program for 2 years. And I know he's a little bit of a different player, but when he's been at his best this year, it's his ability to use his legs. And I don't think that's not surprising to anybody. So if you're Brent Venables, you want to challenge him to beat you through the air. I think the biggest thing and the irony of this entire game, fellas, is that both of these teams have vastly improved their turnovers compared to where they were last September. And now Auburn has the quarterback responsible for a lot of those turnovers turnover issues Oklahoma had last year. So it is really interesting. I think Jackson Arnold is a better version of himself, and I think Auburn's using him well. And I think he has much better receivers this year than he did last year. But I'm just really interested to kind of see. I think this game's just going to come down to turnovers, and both of these teams have been clean all year, but two solid defenses, two solid defensive coordinators calling plays. I think one of these teams is going to get the other. I don't know really who it is at this point, but I feel like one of them is going to get somebody.
I'd like to see Coleman on the outside.
One of the teams is going to get the other one.
I think one side is going to make one too many mistakes. No, that's stupid to say. Like obvious.
The video.
Okay, obvious, right? But like these two teams have been playing clean football all year, and I just feel like one of these two teams are going to break this week and not play clean football.
Yeah, no, and it's fair to say, and it could go ugly. I could see both teams turning into that ugly version of themselves, but I'd like to see Auburn get the ball to Coleman a little bit more on the outside. I think he was pretty stagnant against Baylor, hasn't been jumping off the page for me in any week for fantasy, so they got to get him in open space a little bit because it's starting to feel like a sophomore slump season. Yeah,
Singleton, my receiver.
Yeah, he sure is. Shut up, Jake. Didn't you start somebody that didn't play? All right, yeah, Reese,
sure did.
Give us your thoughts on this matchup.
No, I'll keep it short. I just piggyback off of Jake's idea. I just think you're looking at Arnold last year. Yes, his weapons are better this year, but what did Michigan do against this Oklahoma run defense? They ran the ball 19 times for 125 yards. That was Justice Haynes, and 75 of those yards came on one run. So if Arnold is successful, it's when they run the football. And looking at their track record so far, this Oklahoma defense is going to limit running the football. Yes, it helps when you have good receivers out wide, but I think this Oklahoma defense is just going to be a lot better. They're going to bring the intensity. I think Arnold is going to make way more. Is it Mateer or is it Arnold? Who's going to make more mistakes? You're going to compare these two guys right now. I'm going to go with the guy that's done it. He did it when he was in Norman and when it was his home team. Now he's going on the road there where they're going to be a lot more hostile and they're going to want to get after him. I think OU in this spot is perfect. I think Venables gets this done. I don't think there's any doubt about that one. Give me Mateer in the Sooners.
All right. I like that. I like you brought up the running game because I got to watch Oklahoma, Michigan. Like I watched it way more in depthly than probably most just recently. And I think they didn't get credit a lot for the run defense against Justice Haynes and Michigan and Underwood and what they wanted to do. Like Underwood couldn't complete anything, but they really limited him in the run game. And then Haynes had 19 carries for 125 and a score, but 75 of them were on one run. So you had 18 carries for 50 yards before that. Yeah, like
not good.
Not great at all. So if they could really limit the Auburn run game, which Jake said that's where their advantage is, they're going to put themselves in a good spot. So I love that point from Reese. All right, Oklahoma, Auburn, 6.5 favorites are the Sooners. Let's go to picks. Jake, who you got?
Yeah, if we're going to keep it under a touchdown, I'm just going to go Oklahoma here. I think everything lies within them and it just feels like there's got to be so much. Jackson Arnold's going to have such a big chip on his shoulder, and I feel like it's going to be too much, that he's going to have too many emotions to just want to try and outperform this team. So I like Oklahoma in the spot.
Yeah, and he'll force some things when he tries to do that. So creating those turnovers, Venables' defense, we've seen him have a million of them. Give me the Sooners. I'm on that too. JP.
Yeah, give me the points, please. I'll play 6.5. I understand all of what you're saying, and like I agree with it to a point, but I think Auburn's got the ability to slow down Mateer in the offense. It's just if it's going to be run amok, hard to come by yardage, I think they stay close.
All right. I like that. Maybe saving us from back-to-back unanimous picks. Reese, let it rip.
Boomer!
All right. 3 on Oklahoma. Shout out to our buddy Ty, big Oklahoma fan. We got 3 of us on there. JP on the other side at plus 6.5 for Auburn. That's going to be a great matchup in the big time spot for both teams.